Hey guys, it's TK Slider here, and today I have a new video for you guys. It's actually a deck profile that I'm very excited about. But before we begin, I just have to show you guys the new stuff I bought at Target. I got the Ash Blossom playmat, the Ash Blossom deck blocks, and I've seen before in my other videos, these Ash Blossom sleeves. They were still in stock, surprisingly. Like, I thought they came out a little bit earlier, so I had to pick them up. Maybe it was a restock, because these things are so nice, and the deck box is great. The feet I can probably do away with, but let's just get onto it. And again, guys, this is probably my favorite deck. It's probably, I think it was the first video on my channel, the Volcanic deck profile. It's going to be super hyped, guys, because theoretically, it's a rumor that there's going to be new support for the Volcanics because the new OCG set is like blazing something. It has something to do with Pyro monsters. Hopefully, Pyros get even more support because they have not gotten support in such a long time. If you just check the Yu-Gi-Oh subreddit, you'll see. But this deck profile is going to be a little bit different, guys, because this deck is still outdated. I have not played Volcanics recently, and there's not been a lot of changes to the meta. So this deck profile is actually going to be a collaboration with you guys because I know you guys can figure out and give me the new spicy text and stuff, but it's basically a conversation and a collaboration of how we can make Volcanics 2020 ready. Obviously, it's a budget deck, it is a non-meta deck, it is a pure casual deck, but it can still have some plays. And I still have, I mean, like the main playstyle of Volcanics is still like a stun deck, but hopefully, barring new support later on, that we can definitely make this deck into something a lot more powerful, the best it can be in 2020. And that's the thing I want to share with you guys. But right now, I'm going to show you guys what this deck I have right now, and then just say in the comments below some possible changes, some different actual play styles maybe. I knew Slash Draw Volcanics were a thing, but then Slash Draw went to 1 because Slash Draw is such a great effect of putting the scatter shots back into your deck, but I'm still talking, so let's just get into this deck profile. Alright, to start off with the monsters, we are playing 3 Volcanic Rock. It's probably your best normal summon in the deck. It allows you to search 1 Blaze Accelerator card straight from the deck, and with 1900 attack points. Even though this card is old, this card is so good for its time, and even it's aged so incredibly well as you press normal summon, probably, like especially going first. Then you play 3 Volcanic Shell. This basically is your engine. This card is so versatile because it allows you just to pay 500 life points to search another shell if it's in your graveyard. And accompany that with Blaze Accelerator, you can just basically draw and keep drawing cards using Blaze Accelerator and keep getting cards into your hand with Shell. Probably the main reason this deck's even meta to begin with, but it's playable, right? One of the main reasons this deck is playable is the 3 Volcanic Scatter Shot. This allows you to just nuke your opponent's field at LAKEY, and it allows you to, when it's sent to the graveyard by any means actually, you can inflict 500 points of damage directly to your opponent, and that's really good. This is like the one deck I played in actual IRL tournaments before. They're now closed, but I've won so many games due to time just by using Scatter Shot turn 1. It goes into time. But again, having LAKEY is so good. You can pop, and you can definitely reset these back into your deck with other cards. I play the 1 Volcanic Counter. It's a really good card just to send up Blaze Accelerator. You have to have a fire-type monster in your graveyard, and if you do, whenever you get damage, you're forced to banish it, and then you actually do the same damage back. It's really niche. This card can definitely see more play if there's new Volcanic support, but right now it's actually still pretty strong, especially as a damage dealer. We play the 1 Volcanic Slicer due to our Ties of the Brethren. It's just another level 4 Volcanic Pyro type monster that allows you to do 500 damage. So actually, if you get the combo of Ties, you can then summon this, do 500 damage to your opponent turn 1. It's not bad. At 1800 attack points too. 3 Royal Firestorm Guards. So this card is so good, but also so bad. So it allows you to target 4 Pyro-type monsters in your graveyard, then shuffle them back into your deck to draw 2. So it's a net +1, but the requirement is you have to have 4 Pyro-type monsters, and also this is very easily negatable. It's pretty slow, but if you pull multiple Firestorm Guards in a single game, you definitely have so much advantage that you're probably going to win. It's just such a powerful card. You need this at 3 just to reset your scatter shots. That's one of the things that this deck can definitely change or definitely get better, is more and easier ways to reset your graveyard back into your deck. This is probably the best way, but it's a very risk-reward benefit because you have to have at least 4, and then you can draw 2 cards, which is like such a good effect. And then we have the Juicy tech, basically the one thing that allows you to go turn 1. and allows you to basically out advantage your opponent, is Barrier Statue of the Inferno. This is a Pyro type monster that allows you to allows both players to only special summon Fire type monsters. As the meta is evolving right now, it's probably not the best card because actually Konami is making Fire type archetypes. Like we have the Fire Ignoble Knights or Fire Noble Knights, as well as Salamangreats. This deck doesn't really do well. It honestly auto loses because this does nothing. But I would love to see what you guys have, because you can definitely summon this straight from the deck using Ties of the Brethren, which is a powerful first turn play. And I think you still need to run this, because this is like the only Pyro support that Konami's like ever making, or has made right now, currently. Onto the spells, we have Ties of the Brethren. A lot of people don't like running Ties, but I feel like Ties is such a good card in Volcanics because it allows you to transform any of your level 4 Pyro type Fire attribute monsters, of course they're going to be Fire type, and then change them, and then, no, actually, not change them, but summon 2 more with different names. So your main combo is, hopefully, you can summon your Volcanic Rocket turn 1, you activate Ties of the Brethren, allows you to summon a Barrier Statue, and then a Slicer, and then you can attack. But it allows you for such good accessibility into your deck, because let's say you just open up this, or you open up your dead cards, if you still have Ties of the Brethren, you can still get a Rocket straight from the deck, and Rocket activates when he is summoned, which is such a good effect, because it's so versatile that they made this such old card have such a good accessible effect that allows you to search the card, allows you to activate whenever it's summoned. 1900 attack beats it. It's such a good card. You cannot activate your battle phase when you use this, but especially when you're going first, that doesn't matter. And this deck doesn't really win through the battle phase anyway. It's hard to get a lot of damage on board with this deck. The main reason for to play this deck is just to stun and then sometimes burn your opponent for game. We run the 3 Foolish Burial Goods. This card is actually such a great accelerator, because we'll get to that later on, but Blaze Accelerator. It's accelerator through the accelerator, funny enough, but it allows you to send your Blaze Accelerator straight to the graveyard, and Blaze Accelerator is a quick effect trap card that allows you to banish it to send any volcanic monster straight from the deck. And then you can easily just scattershot your opponent, right? So, if you stun your opponent turn 1, you can just Foolish Burial Goods your Accelerator straight into the graveyard to have a Raigeki whenever you want on your opponent's main phase. This is so good. Next, we're running 2 Magic Planner. So another struggle this deck has is getting your reload straight into the graveyard. Sometimes you have Foolish Burial Goods, sometimes you don't, because sometimes you'll just have your Rocket and you'll have your reload on the board. The reload is great because you can use it as your draw engine with Scattershot. You can trigger things like Counter and Scattershot, but sometimes you just want it straight into the grave, Magic Planner, and we're going to combine this with other multiple continuous traps. This allows you to send a continuous trap and to draw 2 cards. It's pretty good. I don't think you can run it at 3 because this is a dead draw turn 1, turn 2. I can definitely see people taking this out. I would love to see y'all's opinions in the comments. Next, you're running 2 Twin Twisters. So this deck actually struggles against back row, surprisingly enough. But then, so Twin Twisters is such a great card, and discarding cards is actually a pretty good effect in this deck. You can discard Reload, you can discard your shells, so you can get another shell for free. Discarding cards in this deck is pretty good. Next, onto the traps. We play 3 Reload, the card that boosted Volcanics so well. It allows you to send a Volcanic card straight from your hand to the graveyard and then draw 1 card. This triggers Scattershot. This allows Shell to activate. You can send cards to the graveyard. It basically is a second draw, which is so good. And to top it all off, you can banish this from your graveyard and then send a Volcanic monster straight from the deck, like I said before. That triggers Scattershot. So good. So you can have your Raigeki whenever you want. Such a great card. For our continuous traps, we run 2 Fogblade. This used to be Phoenix Chain, but Fogblade is sort of better. But basically, this is basically just a Phoenix Chain. I would rather run the Solemn Brigade, but again, life points is a problem in this deck because you're paying 500 for Shell, you're paying 2,000 for Ties of the Brethren. It's going to be a problem. That's why I can't really run the Solemn Brigade, even though that's probably your best stun cards. But a Phantomknight Fogblade card is pretty good, and it works well with Magic Planner. We are also playing 2 Rivalry of the Warlords and 2 Gozen Match. Rivalry of the Warlords allows it that each player can only control 1 type, while Gozen Match says each player can control 1 attribute. So we're all playing Pyros and Fire types, so this is really good. Again, main deck worthy is a bit of an issue because, again, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a lot of responding to the meta, and there are some decks that just have 1 type or just have, one type or just 1 attribute. Ideally, this would be mainly a side deck option or a main deck in response to what the meta is. Right now, I'm doing 2 and 2, but again, you can see you can definitely adapt your deck, especially going game 2 and game 3, hopefully. And then we have the spicy budget text. We have Storming Mirror Force. This is basically just non-targeting, non-destructible removal, especially with cards like Dragoon, Red Eyes Dragoon, and other things like that. This definitely catches people off guard. It's really slow because it only activates in the battle phase, but it definitely catches people off guard. It's such a good card, especially in this deck where like if people will always go and attack your barrier statue, your cards like that, and this just gives those cards protection in the battle phase, right? And then lastly, we're running 3 Reckless Greed. The reason that a lot of Volcanic players like running Reckless Greed is that this card allows you to just get your combo pieces ready. Again, this isn't really a combo piece deck, but this deck needs cards to protect its other cards, right? Sometimes drawing a Reckless Greed or using Reckless Greed to get more trap cards, to get your engine going, to get a Magic Planner, to get a Royal Firestorm guards, because you don't have a normal summon. It's really, really good. And then losing your draw phase isn't that much of a deal, because if you have your reload setting up, if you have your draw engine, that becomes your draw phase, right? And then just sometimes getting the boost of Reckless Greeds out can definitely overpower your opponent, because you have more card advantage than them. And also the thing is, if you draw multiple of these and you chain them together, you only skip 2 draw phases, which is actually broken. I have no idea why that's the ruling. But I think that's the main deck. That's 40 cards. Again, any changes to this deck, especially, put that in the comments. I would like to know. The extra deck, in my opinion, does not matter, because mainly you are mainly stunning. You're going to control 1 type. You're going to control 1 attribute. You can't special summon monsters except fire type monsters due to barrier statues. This is basically just a bunch of budget level rank 4s. Like, it does not matter. I'm running Cowboy, Castel, Baguska. What's even in here? Abyss Dweller. I have 3 Doolittle Chimera. Probably like the one card that actually matters is that you can just link 2 fire type monsters, and all fire type monsters gain 500 attack and stuff. So this is basically more of a damage option. Link Karibo for you summon Shell, go into a Karibo, then you can get a Shell. That's a very stupid play. The Nightmare Engine. This isn't even 15 cards. Other things you can run is like the Fire Pyro rank 4s. They're like really bad. But again, you can summon Nightmare Phoenix off a barrier statue. But again, other cards you can run. Again, I would love to see what you guys have. You can definitely run Ash Blossom. So I don't really have a lot of hand traps. I'm running more of continuous trap cards just because I'm using Magic Planner. Again, that is a engine that is subject to change. It's also pretty vulnerable. It's also pretty slow. This deck sort of sucks going second because you can't stun. That's why Ash Blossom is a good card. It's a fire type, but that doesn't really matter as much. I have more copies of Kozin, a Drowning Mirror Force just in case, another Twin Twisters. Call of the Grave doesn't really matter as much. Lastly, this Torrential Tribute here is mainly just for other powerful trap cards that you guys may run, because again, we're not running the Solemn Brigade, but you can run stuff like Torrential Tribute, which is a good card. It's at 3 for a reason. You can run Compulse, other texts. You can run the new trap card. You can run a variety of stuff. But again, I think that's it, guys. Again, this deck is so fun to play with. I have many videos of Volcanics on my channel if you guys want to see. But again, this is a collaboration. I would love to see what you guys have. I really want to push this deck into 2020 because right now it's pretty bad. This is like the best idea I can come up with, and I've had many successes. I've beaten many decks with this, but mainly due to surprise factor. There's no way I can out damage or out negate other decks. But I'm just waiting for that Volcanic support because you guys, we're gonna have a party here because this deck is so fun. It's so simple to play with. These cards are cheap. The gold rare Volcanic Rockets have gone expensive because people are trying to hype it up, but the commons are free. They reprinted the Scattershot in the OTS. They reprinted the Volcanic Shell in the Salomon Great Structure deck. This deck is super budget, so hopefully you guys really enjoyed this. If you did, feel free to click the like button and also subscribe because we have more content in the future, guys. And you guys know if new Volcanic support's coming out, we're making a single hype video. That's all I'm gonna make, and then obviously we're gonna talk about it. But I think that's it, guys. TK Slider out. What's up, guys?